I'm John Yeager. Merry Christmas. Christmas time. It ought to be more than just a date on the calendar, a time to unwrap gifts. It ought to be a time for peace, harmony, and giving that starts right here. But all too often we're distracted every Christmas, whether it's by the hassle of Christmas shopping up until the last minute, or like this year, by the fear of an impending recession nationwide, or the fear of war in the Middle East. What we're going to try to do in the next half hour is give you reason to believe that the spirit of the season, the spirit of giving at Christmas, is alive and well. It lives in some of the people I've met doing stories for Positively Northwest over the past few years. The first person you're going to meet tonight embodies that spirit of giving. Her name is Ellen Locke.
Her winterscape paintings reflect the beauty of the season at our door.
The winter's beautiful. Snow on the trees, I think it's just beautiful.
But Ellen Locke knows that winter can be cold as well.
It's just too bad I haven't got a real bright color to work on.
So she's hard at work knitting children's stocking caps. She started doing this 2 years ago. Since then, she's made 200 caps.
Good. I've had people say, well, why don't you sell them? I'm not making them to sell. I don't sell them.
Nope, she's making them to give away to those in need. Ellen figures she can make a cap a day if she's not distracted. In the last week and a half alone, she's made 10. We wanted to show you more of Ellen's handiwork, but that's easier said than done. A couple of weeks ago, she dropped off 100 caps that she had made to the Northeast Community Center here as part of the Coats for Kids program. They didn't last long.
It just came to me that they were giving all these coats away. Why not make some caps to go with it?
Why not indeed? But that seems to be Ellen's attitude about life in general. At 86, she simply cannot understand why some people quit trying to contribute when they get to be her age.
I don't know. I don't understand them. I don't understand them. I fully expect to be very old.
Making stocking caps as long as she can, as long as there's a need.
I enjoy it. I just don't understand people that don't do nothing.
1510 KGA, the country station, a song written by Homer Joy, a local man, Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens. It's called The Streets of Bakersfield.
I came here looking for something I couldn't find anywhere else.
As country music goes, in 1988, it was one of the biggest hits. The Streets of Bakersfield, recorded by Dwight Yoakam and Buck Owens, went gold, then it went platinum. But that was just the beginning. The song and the song's writer were nominated for a total of 5 Grammy Awards. This is a story about the songwriter.
Never walk the streets of Bakersfield.
That songwriter lives in a trailer in Elk, Washington. Royalties from the song haven't started rolling in yet.
We're not rich, but we don't starve.
But in fact, they couldn't even afford to go to the Grammys without help from friends and family.
That was a blessing to us, and they felt that it was a blessing to them. That's what the Grammys mean to me.
Let's try one.
What means more to Homer
Took a lot of wrong turns down a lot of wrong roads. Somebody died, save me.
is the work he, Jay Parker, and Max McCoy are doing on an upcoming gospel album. That's because the drummer is his son Preston, and the bass player, his son Morgan.
I know you can't keep up with my mistakes, right?
And the message is one close to his soul.
Wash me in the blood of a snow white lamb. Somebody died to save me.
The name of the album is An Old Outlaw Comes Home, and there's a lot of truth in that. Joy started playing country music at the age of 13, signed with Buck Owens in 1970. He wrote for Owens for 6 years, then recorded several hits for Capitol on his own. He was on the top of the heap.
Where are we going there?
But not for long. By the mid-'80s, his life had become a roller coaster of drugs, alcohol, and hard life on the road. He'd even done time in jail.
Success and failure and success and failure and success and failure, but my failures came from the things that I threw away, not from the things that I lost.
His wife had divorced him, and he burnt out on the music business.
That wasn't an ending, that was an injury.
But then one cold winter night 5 years ago, he let his faith in God begin to rule his life, and a unique ministry began.
The Union Gospel entertainment tonight will start at 7 o'clock in the cafeteria.
And that ministry goes on in places like the Geiger Correctional Facility. Now he comes to jail just to visit.
And I always thought that at night, what happens is when you're in jail, is they hire this little guy, you know, and every night he comes along and he screws the walls in about 1/4 of an inch.
He and his wife have since remarried and have a 4-year-old daughter. He tells inmates about the life he left behind.
6 years ago, after throwing away my wife and family that I was married for 15 years, I had everything I owned in a cardboard box.
And he tells them about the time his father was dying of emphysema in a coma and how a phone was laid by his ear.
And I said, "Do you know that Jesus loves you?" And he said, "Yes, son, I do." And that's the last thing that the man ever said. And when I say that my father dying was the most beautiful thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, people think I'm crazy.
But these inmates know better.
God knows I hate to see you go. On a will that church go. Be unbroken.
They know that they are now Homer's joy and his salvation. For he is now a man not as impressed with the winning of a Grammy as with the winning of a soul.
You could live a month without anything to eat, and you could live a couple of weeks without anything to drink, and you could live, 15 minutes, half an hour without anything to breathe. But you can't live in this world for 30 seconds without any hope.
And they know that of all the songwriters fighting to get on top of that heap, this one has an advantage.
In the sky, Lord, in the sky.
This one has friends in high places.
Lord, in the sky. God bless every one of you. God bless you. And thank you.
Remembering the image of a Christmas past is one thing. Capturing that image is quite another. But that's what Nona Hanging has done.
It's a time when we want to be gentle and kind and loving and caring and remembering. And I think we look for that in the images that we convey. We're not looking for the technology that's frazzling us out all week.
Hanging has painted as a hobby for 25 years and professionally for the last 10. She's been painting Christmas cards for the last 5, painting mainly images of Christmases she remembers close to home here in Spangle.
The card company invites cards that look back to childhood and to an America that was simple and rural.
This, she says, is what sells cards for card makers like Leanin' Tree, one of the national companies that has bought Nona's designs for distribution across the country.
I'll put this barn in behind this mother lady, like so, maybe a tree up behind it. A lot of card companies try to recreate that or capture that. So this is going to be a frozen pond or a creek, and then I'll have a fire here, just a touch of red maybe, like so.
The paintings Nona works on now are for next Christmas, and while many of them are on display at Spangle's Harvester restaurant, her cards remain the best way for most people to share a little of that captured image of a Christmas past.
And of course the snowy roof. It just brings back the happy part of our life. They say that memories embellish life and forgetfulness alone makes it endurable.
But because she hasn't forgotten what Christmas was like, neither will we. Let's be honest, even though we all talk about wanting a white Christmas, the snow and the cold of winter can get you down, can't it? But there are places where that doesn't happen, places where they look forward to winter, places like McCall, Idaho. Winter, its cold and dark and silent grip often makes us depressed. testing our endurance, it leaves us longing for its passing. Well, not here in McCall. Here, they celebrate the season and embrace it like a friend. Here, they feel its energy teeming neath the crust and seek to shape it into beauty. And when they're done, they leave it all over town. This is where the Idaho State Snow Sculpting Championship is held. This, of course, means you have to count on snow. The elevation of McCall, Idaho is 5,021 feet above sea level. So every winter when it comes to snow, about all you can count on around here is more.
It's there, but you can't see it.
And that's just fine with sculptors like Jerry Snodgrass.
It's a funny medium to work with.
Back home in Boise, sculpting is what he does for a living.
But this is fun to work this big and see if it can work. It's a real challenge.
I think he's coming along.
But most of the contestants are amateurs. The rules are simple.
You can't use any,
No artificial props.
Right.
No power tools.
You can't color it anyway.
All snow and water, ice and water.
Get the least bit wet and you're out of it.
The important thing is it doesn't fall.
It doesn't matter what tools you use.
The more exotic that the tools get, the less use they are. So a shovel is our probably most used tool.
And it doesn't matter how you do it.
You know, one might start at the top, the other one starts at the bottom. You know, one might start on the side. One person might slush and put a lot of slush on.
You have to add on what you don't have.
And it doesn't matter what you call it.
J.D. McCall, the famous beaver trapper.
World peace. We're calling this lessons because these little bears are learning how to catch fish.
We're more worried about getting it done than calling it something.
Everybody starts with a 5-foot by 5-foot by 9-foot block of snow and 3 days to finish. Alan Grieg and Craig Gildersleeve are from Sandpoint.
I think just the excitement of it. It's just real neat to sit here and have a deadline, 3 days to do it.
More and more detail comes out on it.
They start to come alive. They start to get a life. All the sculptures, just it feels good.
Just a foot toward the back.
I'm doing a rose.
If you walk back and forth in front of him, his eyes will follow you everywhere you go. It's something that sculptors have done since Michelangelo, so it's nothing new.
But then neither is snow sculpting here in McCall, where they've been doing this for more than 50 years, where they're rarely dragged into the season, sunup or sundown. Or like few places on Earth,
It's going to be probably a long night, never know.
winter here is what you make it.
Yes. No. I don't want it bumped out again. There you go. Now you're stroking. Okay. Good. You can step over here and do that.
If there is a holy sound on Earth, it is the ringing of the bells. The healing and the hurting come here to the Immaculate Heart Retreat to get closer to the voice of God and closer to their faith.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
And closer to one man who lives here, strong with voice and strong with faith.
But let's thank God for the many times that He has taken His suffering away from us, the times that He has healed us.
He reaches out with both.
I'm Father Jim Perron.